I'm Jessica from Brown Paper Bunny, and today I want to show you how to use the Tombow ABT Pro alcohol-based markers. And we're going to use the People palette, which is these colors here, to create a portrait. Let's get started. I love these markers because the ink is super vibrant and you can get a really nice even finish on your illustrations or your lettering, if you're making cards, that kind of thing. So let's just get started, and I'm going to talk to you about the ABT Pros as we do some illustration. So I always like to have a scrap of paper on hand so I can test the colors before I put them down. So a quick tip is if you just want light coverage, move quickly with your brush tip or your chisel tip. But if you want more saturated ink, move a little bit slower and it'll seep into the paper a little bit more and you'll get more vibrant coverage of the area like this. So the brush tip is great for small details and getting a variety of line weights. And then on the other side, you've got the chisel tip, which is awesome for doing really fine lines with the point, or fat lines if you lay it sideways, and covering large areas. It's really handy for that. I'm just going to go back to the brush tip and just do a first layer on the bottom lip here. The really cool thing about the ABT Pro ink is that you can really layer it to build up color. So you can do a first layer like I'm doing now and then let it dry, and then you can go back over either with the same color or a slightly darker shade and add shadows. So you can just keep building up that color until it's got the depth that you want. And another really cool thing is that you can layer colors on top to get a whole different shade. So this one is P910, and I just want to give some peachy kind of undertones to some of the highlights on her lips. So I'm just layering this color on top. And as you can see, I'm drawing right over the top of my mono drawing pen, which is these ones here, which are a water-based pigment ink marker or fine liner. And because the ABT Pros are alcohol-based, they don't cause the mono drawing pen ink to smudge or seep into the ink at all. It's really great. Okay, so I'm going to keep building up this color here. Let's see, sort of a darker peach color. And something really cool you can do is if you've got a darker color and you want a little bit of a gradient, you can go back in with a lighter color and just kind of blend it out a little bit. This works especially well while the ink is still wet. You can just use the lighter color to blend it. Okay, I'm going to do the same along the edge of the bottom lip, just giving it that dark peach color, just for a little bit of variety. And again, I'm going to use this lighter color, which is the P942, and just blend. Okay, and then I'm going to use P992, an even darker shade, just around the corners and the areas that would be a little bit darker, just to give it a little bit more shape and form, and just building up those layers of color. And like I said, you can let one layer dry and then go back in to get even greater contrast. Okay, now I'm just trying to find a nice tone to use on her skin. I might start with, let's see. Okay, I'm going to start with 992, and just like I did on her lips, I'm going to build up the layers of color. And this time I'm going to use the chisel tip because I want to cover a larger area, and this does a really good job for that. Okay, so I want to add a little bit more shadow here. So I'm going to find a slightly darker shade. This one will work nicely. I'm just going to add a little bit more ink to where there would be more shadow. So I'm pretending that the light source or the sun is coming from this direction. So this area here would be the most in shadow. And then after I've put that base color down, then I'm going to blend it again with my lighter brown that I was already using, just to soften those edges a little bit and blend it down. So again, I've added some shadow with the darker brown, and now I'm using the slightly lighter tone just to blend it and soften that line up a little bit. Okay, now I'm looking at her lips and I want a little bit more contrast here. So I'm going to go back in with my darker peach, which is my P873. I'm just going to add a little bit more color to the edges, and then I'll blend it in with my really light brown. Okay, now I'm going to start coloring in some of her hair, and I'm going to use the chisel tip again because it's a bigger area of ink and or bigger area of paper that I want to cover. So this is where it's great to use the fine point on the chisel tip to get in around those small details, and then just turn it sideways to use the full width of it. Okay, now because my light source is coming from this direction, this side of her hair is going to be in deeper shadow than it will be up there. So I want to make it a little bit darker down here. So I'm adding P839 and I'll blend it in a little bit with the last color I was just using. Okay, so this is my darker brown. I'm going to add a few little details into her hair, a few little curls. Okay, gonna call it done.